It's a story of every homesteader's life. There's not enough hours in the day. There's never enough hands to help on the big projects. What project would you do if you could get a helping hand for a week on your homestead? Welcome to Thriving the Future podcast, where we're finding positive solutions to thrive in the tough times ahead. So this week on Thriving the Future podcast, I talk with Matt from FarmHopLife podcast, farmhoplife.com, about his 20 by 23 project next year, traveling around to farms and homesteads to lend a hand with whatever the owners need to finish a project, plant hundreds of trees, harvest plants, and process livestock. Let's jump into the episode. Okay.
So
You're over in Montana, right? Over in Western Montana?
Yeah, Western Montana, south of Missoula.
So is it already super cold over there?
Not terribly. We get about right now it's about mid 30s at night. I think today got the high of like 75, so we got about 40-degree swing from morning until the peak, which is pretty typical, 40-50-degree swings at this time of year. So it's not too bad. It's kind of nice.
And so do you have one kid or you have another one on the way now?
We have two kids now. So I have a 2-year-old and a 3-month-old.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty cool. She's
That's
adorable.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so your 20 by 23 or 20 times 23 project.
Yeah, the 20 by 23 project.
Yeah, so basically everybody who's a homesteader knows that there's not enough hours of the day. They know that there's just not enough hands to get stuff done. If I started talking to some of my friends and said, hey, if you got projects around here, what can we do to help and stuff? And we'll go over and we'll, help some guy cut down a tree. The day after Christmas, we had a tree snap the water main going into my house. And so we all dug it up and stuff like that. So there's plenty of stuff at any given time on any homesteader's list of stuff to do. And what you're looking at is going on the road, helping out on people's homesteads. Give us a little bit of background here, how that works.
So, do you want like the genesis of it? Like, how did it start?
Sure. Yeah. What was it? What inspired you? That was one of my questions.
Well, so I started out as like a handyman for like one gig.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to get like some side income. I'm like, well, this is cool. I'm making $50 an hour, but this sucks because it's taking me away from my family, like away from my already like day job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, how can I bring my family with me to jobs that I'm at?
Right. Were you traveling for the jobs?
No, not that far, but it's
Okay.
just still like I'm gone 8-9 hours on a Saturday when I should be home, right?
Sure.
And it just kind of rested in the back of my mind. And I go to a friend's ranch. He's got like 120 acres, cows, pigs, lots and lots of chickens at the time, just the whole nine. And I'm helping him out. I'm like, how could I like stay here? Because this place is like paradise. He lets me hunt there and stuff. It's sweet.
That's great.
Yeah. And so I'm like, what if I'm like, I've got a homestead. I need help. I feel like other people need help. Let's just go to them. And so I pitched the idea to my wife and she's like, what are you even talking about? Like, that sounds, what? This makes no sense. I'm like, okay, just hear me out. And then, so we just kind of like, I could just kind of like let it sit for a little while. And we're both very much into traveling and like exploring. I mean, she's been to almost all 50 states and I've been to like 5 or something. So, I mean, when you live in the last best place, I mean, do you really need to go anywhere else? Turns out you do. You do need to get out and explore still. We were just on a road trip, 2 actually, but coming back here, pretty sweet feeling. But anyways, there's a lot to see in this great nation, and there's a lot of people to help. So
sure.
Like I see on Twitter, like these people, struggling to get this done, struggling to get that done. And then, like you talked about, like your water main, Like
Right.
on the unexpected things show up on top of the planned things. And
Sure.
so sometimes all you need is like just an extra pair of hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I I like that more than working on my own stuff. They're like, hey, I got that. I helped that guy get that done. Or, I helped that lady plant, the 100 trees today or whatever it is. Like
Right. Sure.
that's, or canning, whatever, literally, whatever homesteading thing. I want to learn it all. So, because
Mhm.
I'm still pretty new to this. So if I can just like ask all my dumb questions and record it in the process,
Right.
uh, let's go. Let's get some work done.
So you got an RV and you're just going to hit the road and help folks out, right?
RV is we're still looking. We actually looked at one
Uh-huh.
today after work. They're very small for family four, but uh, it's not like I got like an F-350 and I'm gonna pull like a 40-foot trailer or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
I've got a half ton, and we were looking at like a 25-foot trailer, and it's also like within our budget and stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll make it work
Yeah,
because we
that's
have
not so
to.
bad. Well, yeah, your kids are kind of small, so
That
that's not
helps.
so bad. That's pretty cool. Wow. So are you going to start in the spring or are you going to start in the summer or what's the plan?
So I gave my employer a year's notice. For everyone listening, don't do that.
Yeah,
Year is too long.
right.
I I would much knowing what I know now, 6 months, sweet spot. 3 months, fine. Depending on your relationship with your employer. I thought my relationship with my employer was pretty good, that I felt bad for them that I was leaving after 5 years. Well, by the time I'm done, six. And like, they're I'm employee number three. And
Hmm.
so to have a third of your employees gone is kind of a big hit. Plus, employment these days, trying to find workers,
Sure.
pain in the butt.
Hmm.
And so I thought I was being kind. Like I knew it was like kind of ridiculous giving a year's notice, but I wanted to be nice. And when you're 6 months into your 1 year notice, you're pretty much sick of each other. You're
Yeah.
like, why aren't you gone yet? Like, I know, I don't know why I'm still here either.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's the
Yeah,
way
if
that
I
goes.
gave a significant notice after about a month, they would say, "Yeah, we've got it figured out. We'll have to let you go now."
Yeah, yeah. I I brought this up on my men's forum on the last episode, and I'm
Uh-huh.
pretty sure one of the other employees, who's technically my supervisor, was trying to get me fired, but that's alleged, and we don't need to go there here. So that was a whole like 10-minute venting, ranting session that I
Yeah, I
that I
heard some of
did.
that.
Yeah, that was I didn't think I was gonna bring that up, but it fell out, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So you were talking about being a handyman. What other kind of skills do you have? And so what kind of skills do you bring to the table? And then also what kind of skills do you want to develop or learn in the process?
So I was in construction for a while.
Hmm.
I did siding, little bit of roofing, framing, flooring, trim work. Um, Trying to think of the other. I didn't really do a whole lot of like setting doors and stuff. I was still pretty new at like the house that I was hired to build at the time. Some of the other carpenters took over that kind of stuff. But so then um so I did that for a while, and now I'm an electrician. I've been doing that for 5.5 years.
Wow.
And I've had like helping my dad around the house, working on his like little construction projects, been at my uncle's farm a couple of summers, running tractors, setting posts, planting
Hmm.
whatever new thing he gets his hands on, whether it be like growing grapes
Right.
or hemp, whatever it is.
Sure.
So I just like working with my hands. Like And what I'm hoping to learn is literally everything. Like I listened to your last episode, you're talking just about like pawpaws
Right.
and what you use for pawpaws. Like, I don't even know if I've ever seen a pawpaw. And uh, so I'm not sure what they taste like. I don't know, like, do you eat them with like salt, or you said you put them in the freezer and they have like a caramelized kind of taste. So like
Yeah,
little nuggets, information like that.
sure.
You don't know what you don't know until you hear
Yeah,
things like that.
pawpaws are completely not shelf stable. So, once they're ripe and they're going to go really, really fast. And they taste sort of like vanilla custard or banana custard, but a
Okay.
kind of wild twang to them. And then
Hmm.
they get
That sounds pretty good.
caramelized really quickly. So, and you just basically have to go for it really quick. And then I take them and I freeze some of them for the wintertime because then they taste really, really good in the middle of the wintertime.
Yeah, that sounds pretty tasty. Like, if I ever came to you're in Kansas, right?
Yeah, Northeast Kansas. Yeah.
Yeah. If I ever swing by Kansas in the wintertime, you have pawpaws in your freezer. I'm raiding your freezer.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not many of them, but there's some. So, and then going to be harvesting some chestnuts this weekend. The chestnuts are starting to drop.
Nice.
My friends planted some down at the elementary school, and then he's not been using them. So I just go and get some, eat some, and then plant the rest, and then learn how to grow the seedlings.
See, like little things like that, that's what I want to learn.
Uh huh.
I mean, I listen to podcasts, audiobooks and stuff. Nothing beats just hands-on experience and just getting like a little taste of like what everyone else is doing, seeing how
Sure.
they do it and like what they're into and how
Hmm.
they do it.
Right.
Um, it's gonna put me pretty far ahead in terms of my my reading ability. Like, I can read, just my comprehension sucks. So
Yeah. It's almost like too much, right? And
yeah.
then one of the things that I've really seen is like, so you read Mark Shepard's book, and stun method sounds like a great idea. Well, you can't do stun method on most trees, especially grafted apple trees, because stun method is basically you plant seeds, you wait for them to come up, you overplant them so they're really close together, you cut down the ones that don't work, and then you taste the fruit. And if it doesn't taste good, you cut that down. And you keep going until you get something you like. Most people, including me, buy grafted apple trees, plant them, and then try and stun method, leaving them alone. And that doesn't work. They've got to get irrigated. And I've killed so many apple trees. It's just outrageous. So, little things like that, they never talk about in the book.
Right. Hey, this thing worked. Also expect a 10% success rate.
Right. And it worked in Wisconsin, but it won't work in Kansas.
Right.
So I think I talked about elderberries. If I take elderberries and I put them in the under lights down in the basement as cuttings, they'll come up and they'll do fine. But if I take them outside, it gets too hot too fast and they die. But if I take a stick and I stick it in the ground, then they go to town. It's really crazy. You would think you wouldn't
Right.
have to just stick a stick in the ground and then it takes off. So, and that's worked really well. So, in fact, I got elderberries in some spots. How did that get there? So, things like that. So, yeah, it's those little things, especially with the different climates and the microclimates. So,
Okay.
you read some book and then you didn't see that they didn't go back to version 2 and then, oh, yeah, I don't grow rice anymore. Right. Because the birds figured it all out and now they're all down there. He doesn't have Ben Falk. So he doesn't have rice anymore, but it's all in
Oh,
his
I
book.
didn't know
Right.
that.
Yeah. He was on Spirko about 9 months ago or something like that. And he mentioned
Oh,
that, yeah, I don't grow rice anymore because the birds were coming down and eating it all.
hmm.
They figured it all out and it was too much of a hassle to put netting across the top.
Yeah,
So,
because right on the cover of his what's the name of the book? I don't remember now. Whole Systems Design.
yep. Mhm.
I mean, his rice field, his rice paddies, I guess, are right on the front cover.
Sure. And
And
he
so
still
like
has the
that's
ponds and he
right.
still utilizes the ponds, but he doesn't bother with the rice stuff anymore. And things like that. So what worked last year, like one thing I tried last year was Milpa gardening, where basically it's all this, it's corn, squash, and beans, and then a whole bunch of greens all mixed together, and you just throw it out, and then
Mm.
it has a different crop every month as the different things come in, right? And then I had a lot of success with that, so I thought that was great. And then this year it wasn't quite the same, right?
Because of the heat.
Yeah, and also the deer figured out a way to get over the fence and
Oh,
things like that. So, and it just was a different yeah. One thing I learned was if you plant it at different times, then one of those different crops will take off and get dominant, right? So the beans and the buckwheat will get dominant, and then the squash won't come in. If you plant
gotcha.
later, the squash comes in and then it shades everything else out, stuff like that. But I've been messing around with that, and that's one of the things that I've been finding pretty interesting. So,
Yeah.
so that's one of my experiments over the last couple of years.
What's your rainfall like or
Um,
precipitation?
so it doesn't rain hardly at all. You hear April showers bring May flowers. That's not how it works here. We get all our rain in May, late May and June, and then there's hardly any rain or precip during December, January, February. Um, and then during the summertime, it's really hot, and then it'll dump like 5 inches at one time, 2 inches
Dang.
at one time, something like that. So a couple of years last year, I extended my orchard by 80 feet, and I hand dug swales with a broad fork and a shovel over a
Dang,
couple of
dude.
months, and that helped a lot. But so those would fill up and stuff like that, and
But you did build swales.
yeah,
That's
well,
awesome.
yeah, they're little micro ditches, but yeah,
I'm
but yeah,
having analysis paralysis on my place about swales. Like, I know I need them because we have 19 inches of annual precipitation a year.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And we need to capture all that water that we can, keep it on the property instead of letting it run into the irrigation ditch right below my house. And so
right.
it's like, where do I put my swales?
So yeah, so we got the A-frame out with the
Sure.
plumb bob, and then figured out where everything was at, and then I over 2 months dug the beds and then double dug and took the swales and put it on and made basically mounds, right? And then the apples and the chestnuts that I planted into those mounds did really well, from the swales and everything. So yeah, that's the most success I've had with apples yet.
Is ones that you planted in the
Mm-hmm,
swale.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and the
Nice.
chestnuts, yeah. So yeah, that was really good. I've got an example of that out on my other site, freedomfarmer.net, and with pictures and the layout and how I did it and everything.
Oh,
So
nice. I'll have
yeah,
to give that a look.
yeah, it's pretty cool. So so what do you think the average day will look like for you on your quest?
On my quest. Um, get up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, preferably outside,
Right.
and um, say good morning to the wife and kids. Get to work with whatever the homeowner needs, landowner, whoever I'm working for that day. I do have kind of like stipulations in place since the work will be for free.
Sure.
um I have like a limit of like, let's say 20 hours. Now if it ends up being like 21, 25, whatever, I'm not gonna like get all pissy about it, right?
Yeah.
And my wife has like some hours like built into like what the landowner gets as well, because like she wants to do stuff too, but for the
Right.
most part she's going to be the cat wrangler. So
A cat wrangler. That's funny.
yeah,
So
my
yeah, let's talk about the gig a little bit there then. So you bring your RV or your trailer, you park it on the homeowner's land, right?
mm-hmm.
And then you said free labor, really?
Yep.
Wow.
Hey, I'm looking to learn, looking to help, but also create content.
Mhm.
There's there's a lot of people. I mean, just probably all of the ones that I've interviewed plus uh, 10, 100x, right?
Right.
That all are doing stuff. Like they post their pictures, but we're only getting like a little like sliver of what it is they're doing and how they're doing it.
Sure, sure.
I mean, if they'll let me, I want to open that can. I want to see what it's like,
Mhm.
and help them get further than when I got there. So like leave it better than when you found it, kind of thing.
Right.
Um, I don't know if your audience is familiar with Justin Rhodes'
Oh yeah.
American Farm Tour
Yep.
and the show Homestead Rescue on History Channel.
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, it's interesting. It's TV, right? So take
Right.
it with a grain of salt. It's
Sure.
ridiculous.
Right.
It's a lot of drama. So always tell people, it's like the American Farm Tour with Homestead Rescue, but without the drama. So we don't need to be, putting excavators in water or, you know, using chainsaws too close to our face or something like that. Like
Yeah,
let's just
absolutely. Yeah.
move some goats or change the goat pen or fix fences or whatever. Like literally whatever it is they're working on. That's
Sure.
I
Yeah,
want to absorb all that knowledge.
I liked your episodes. So you have 5 episodes that are right at the beginning, right about it, January in your podcast, where you lay out your vision and you lay out how you will do income and everything else. I won't rehash that all here, but I really liked how you laid that out at the beginning. That was really neat.
Subject to change.
Of course. That's almost
uh
a year. You're coming up on a year now in
oh
a
man.
couple months.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. So yeah, we did those episodes because like we knew kind of the idea of what we wanted and what we were shooting for, but people are going to have questions.
Sure.
And so we put that out there so people can listen and be like, "Oh, okay. I could see how that could work."
Hmm.
Or I'm like, I don't I think you're missing a big part. Tell me about it. Like, let's hear it. I'm open to I'm open to the criticism. Because maybe you got a good point. Like you're overlooking this. Like I want to hear it. So,
Yeah.
but there hasn't been much that I haven't heard yet. But like, oh, why don't you wait till the kids are a little bit older? Like it's never a good time. Like let's go. Let's go right now.
Yeah, it actually might be easier with the kids being younger.
Right. Yeah. I think people are just like, Jack, we've been bringing up Jack Spirko a lot. He always talks about like the crabs and the like pulling down the other crabs. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Why don't you wait? Why don't you not do that? Why don't
Oh,
you stay at your
the monkey
job?
story about
Well,
how you
that
can
too.
yeah.
Yeah, the monkeys, but like, crabs in whatever in a bucket
Yeah,
or
sure.
just pull down the other crabs, right?
Right.
Um, yeah, just because you're miserable at your job doesn't mean I need to be.
Right, exactly. I mean, make a difference.
Yeah, you don't that's totally fine if this is not whatever I'm doing is not what you want to do. It's probably not for a lot of people. And it's going to be difficult leaving this house.
Hmm.
Um, but you know what? It's going to be a great experience for our family and especially the kids. Like
Right.
they're going to be absorbing so much information. Like one of the episodes that you're referencing is like, what about the kids?
Hmm.
And it's like, well, if we go stay with somebody that's like a mechanic or whatever, they work on cars part-time, that is a complete blind spot to me. Cars are kind of cool, and that's about as far as my interest in them.
Sure.
So if he wants to like wrench on a motor, like learn how to rebuild a whatever, cool. Teach him how to do that.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. Yeah, I'd want kids to be like Justin Rhodes kids, they're like doing crazy stuff. They're rebuilding engines and stuff by now.
see, yeah, that's what
You
I
know?
want. If
Yeah,
that's what he
exactly.
if that's what he wants to do, um, let them do it.
Yeah. So did you figure out, has your plans changed about what you're going to do with the house?
Um, we are gonna still try to Airbnb it. It's
Huh?
riskier,
Right.
um, because the off season here is like September to April. So you've got to bring in a majority of your income from May until September, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Um, but given given the area, it should be in like, occupancy rate and whatnot, we should be able to make it. And I thought about different ways of like sweetening the pot for people to stay here
Sure.
over the winter, but also, to stay on like a working homestead and stuff. Like the Airbnb thing has gotten so ridiculous, right? It's almost like not it's not like Tulip Mania, but it's like totally like everyone is doing Airbnb right now.
Yeah.
So what's gonna set us apart from the person renting their house down the road, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, okay, we kind of have the same view and our house is probably a little bit nicer,
Mm-hmm.
but also we're on like a like cute kind of little homestead. We got like these 80 acres that'll never right below us that'll never be developed because it's in a conservation thingy, and like there's Black Angus on them, and there's a cool old 100+ year old barn.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
it's yeah. I think there's a lot of little things like that that'll set us apart. Also, my parents like uh stay in Airbnbs when they come out to visit us,
Sure.
and the access roads alone, we are miles ahead of anybody else having an Airbnb in the area, because it's like, oh yeah, it only takes, once you get off the main road, then it's like another 20 minutes on like the worst road imaginable to get to the Airbnb that the propane tank didn't get hooked up or whatever. Now it's cold in the house. And
Yeah.
whereas us, it's a 10-minute drive to town. You
Sure.
feel like you're way out there. So
Yeah, there's like a balance because I mean, if you rent, we rented um when we moved, we had a house down in Wichita, Kansas, and it's just like you can't get rid of people, especially now. There's all these COVID things that are still sticking
right.
around. And I mean, the person just up and stopped paying rent. And it took 6 months for us to get rid of them.
Wow.
And we had to go to court. And then they
That
destroyed
sounds
the
cheap.
place. Yeah. So, and with Airbnb, you just kick them out. And supposedly, I haven't, everybody talks about this, but you can just have the sheriff shows up and remove them, right?
Right.
Where, I couldn't get the sheriff to show up and remove my renter. So,
Yeah, it's a good little hopefully we don't have to deal with anything like that, but yeah, that sounds like the better option. I'm
yeah.
not going to
So,
ask you twice.
right. So I just asked and put it out on my, we've got a local community group and we have a Telegram channel around that. And I put it out there and said, hey, I'm talking with Matt from FarmHopLife tomorrow night. This is what he's doing next summer. And already had one guy said, oh, wow, I would take time off work so I could work with him on my place.
Yeah, let's go. What's his name? Give
So
me his number.
yeah, he's got
I'll
all
put
kinds of
up
ideas.
I'll put him on the schedule.
Yeah. I mean, he would fill the entire 2 weeks with no problem at all.
Sounds good to me. Hopefully we can get a lot done in that time.
So yeah. Yeah, that's good. So when are you going to kick it off?
April 1st, and it sounds like a sick joke, but it's not. When I gave my year's notice, we were like almost at the end of March, and so I was like, April 1st. Plus, it's that's my wife's birthday, and so I'm just giving her the greatest birthday gift of all time is that
Sure.
we have no income anymore. We're just having fun.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, so if somebody wants to have you come out next year, then how do they get a hold of you?
They can email me, matt@farmhoplife.com, or they can go to farmhoplife.com/20x23 and fill out the form there. It'll go to a special folder in my email where I'm going to start building out the itinerary here soon.
Thank you for listening to the Thrive in the Future podcast. If you like what you hear, click that subscribe or follow button on your favorite podcast app. Also, check us out at thriveinthefuture.com and join our conversation on Twitter at thriveinthefute, or join our Telegram channel. Simply go to the Thrive in the Future website. On the right sidebar, there's a link to the Telegram channel. This episode was produced by Scott Miller, copyright 2022. thriveinthefuture.com.